I'm there on the weekends, up there taking care of animals with the team.
You got a great team there. It's a small team, but a great team that works together. And
Well, I started about 20 years ago. My dear friend Carol Burgess founded Harmony in Fairview.
Okay.
And we decided to reopen it in West Nashville. And we are rocking along. Lots of animals. One of the primary calls that we get are, I found a bird, it's on the ground, what do I do? And in most situations, you should let it alone unless there's an imminent danger to that animal, because the parents are helping it and feeding it, and it just needs a couple of scary days on the ground until it gets back up into flight.
All the storms that have been coming through and just destroying nests, and a lot of babies will be found on the ground. Re-nesting is possible and preferable.
You play the video calls and you put the baby near where they found it, and the mama will actually come down and pick it up and then bring it back.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that cool?
Nice. The award-winning Tennessee Wildcast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee Wildcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We got a great show lined up for you today, Don.
We do extra special, especially for this time of year. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's getting warmer out there. Although this morning was pretty cold. And baby wildlife are starting to run around. You may see them in your yard, and we got a few experts in the house to talk about that today. If you find one, what you do, and all that fun stuff. So, Don, as always, we like to highlight a radio station. Do you want to kick that off?
Yeah, WFHU 91.5 The Lion on the campus of Freed Hardeman University. And we're all over that station. I tell you what, they're using the extras every day of the week, and also running the full Wildcast on Saturdays and Sundays. So we appreciate them as well as our other radio partners.
That's great. Yeah, we're adding more and more every week, seems like, and even TV stations.
Yeah.
Community TV stations are picking us up, so.
We'll be talking more about that coming up.
Yeah, we may have to do a whole show about how to find us. What do you think? No. That may get boring, though. Anyway, I'm excited about today's show. We're going to be talking with Stasia and Melody, some wildlife rehabilitators from Harmony Wildlife, and we're excited to have you guys in studio.
We're excited to be here.
We're really excited to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Rusty Bowles works for us, and he helps you guys and helps manage the permits and things that y'all need to do the work that you do. And he said, I got the perfect ladies for you to come on the show. And
highly recommended.
This is the time of year when this y'all's services really amp up, right?
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
We call this baby season.
And we get all kinds of phone calls and messages on social media and all kinds of inquiries and how do we do this or that or help this animal or help that animal. But I'm excited what we're going to cover today. It's going to be great information for those listening and watching today. But first, I want to learn about you guys. So whoever wants to kick it off, tell us about Harmony Wildlife and tell us about yourself.
Stasia.
Oh, okay. I got voted first. Thanks again for having us here. I'm Stasia. I'm the executive director for Harmony Wildlife, and I do everything from scrubbing cages to asking people for donations to answering the phones and helping facilitate getting animals to the rehab. I'm there on the weekends, up there taking care of animals with the team. And I am just part of a group, and I couldn't do it without folks like Melody here, who really, we all work together to make it happen. So pass it over to you.
Yeah. And I am the facilities director, and I do wildlife rehab. Sometimes I'm there from sunrise to
Sunset,
just like well after. Rearranging things and putting
really
labels on
order.
things. But yeah.
So I started about 20 years ago. My dear friend Carol Burgess founded Harmony in Fairview.
Okay.
And when I moved to Tennessee in 2000, didn't know anybody, and I was like, what am I going to do with all this time? So I started volunteering at Harmony Wildlife. And then a few years ago, 2 years ago exactly, we decided to reopen it in West Nashville. So that's where we are located now, and we are rocking along. Lots of animals.
Well, off mic, you were talking about how you got a great team there. It's a small team, but a great team that works together and kind of had a merge of companies that created Harmony Wildlife Rehabilitation. And then, but you also team up with your other rehabilitators in the area. You're always working together, right?
Every
Right.
single day.
Because there's
Very
so many
important.
animals coming in. Yeah.
Yeah, Middle Tennessee has a really great network of rehabbers, and a lot of us have worked together in varying degrees, whether, it was at a different center or at, vet hospitals, or we've met at conferences. But yeah, we all work together all the time, trying to keep communication open, make sure, the animals are going to the best place and all that. It takes a lot of work to, get it all figured out, but there's a lot of good people here, so we're lucky to have.
Yeah, and examples of our collaboration. So Walden's Puddle
Yeah.
asked us to watch our family. Actually, it wasn't a family. It was a mama red fox who had mange. And then the night before she came over to us, she had 2 babies. And then at Harmony, she had 3 more. It was amazing. And so we got to watch them for a few weeks, and then they went back to Walden's. And then conversely, we just had, we had 3 babies. Remember that big windstorm that came through Tennessee in February?
Yes.
Well, it knocked down 3 separate nests, one in Belmead, one in Clarksville, and one in Murfreesboro. And these great horned owlet nests blew to the ground, and they couldn't be renested. So we got the 3 babies to us, and we had them about 2 months. Up until this week, so
Yeah.
February to now. And we do not yet have a flight barn, which is a really large enclosure that's needed for larger raptors to be able to, learn how to fly.
Sure.
So Walden's very graciously took them from us, and they're going to finish the rest of the rehab. So that's just an example. We're part of a network of licensed rehabbers in Tennessee, and we really do work together to try to figure out the best way to help the animals that we're working with at that time.
That's great. Real life story. I gotta give a shout out to Stasia. I talked to her last Thursday afternoon, early evening. She was on her way out the door to do a renesting,
Of a screech owl.
but a friend of mine had sent me a text and a picture of an owl that had kind of found a home on his back deck, and he realized there was something wrong with it. Of course, I'm not sure exactly what was wrong with it, but anyway, he knew it needed help. So anyway, I was able to reach Stasia through the website.
Yeah.
The
new design.
New design paid off big time, and so as I understand it, Peggy came out and picked up the owl, and
Yes.
so anyway, I'll find the rest of the story at some point.
An important member of our team is Peggy Riling. She does our volunteer directors, and we were so lucky to get her. She used to work at the Chattahoochee Nature Center in Georgia, and she focused on raptor care and renesting. She just happened to be driving by, and I said,
wow.
I got a call from Dawn. And so she went, and the reason that I think this is so timely is that right now, baby birds are starting to leave their nest. And this was an example of what we call a brancher. And this was an owlet. It was a great horned owl that had actually left its nest, and the parents will feed it on the ground. Unfortunately, it picked your friend's back deck. And they did not really want an owl on their deck. So Peggy actually was able to put the owlet back into the tree. The mama owl is flying around watching and
Awesome.
hooting. Yeah, it was really
Awesome.
cool. So that's one thing that we do is if whenever possible, we don't actually want the animal to come to us. We want the animal to stay back out in the wild.
The quickest
Right.
way back to nature, right?
Yeah.
Back to their
It's like we would rather them not ever even get in our door.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if there's anything to prevent that, like renesting opportunities or things like that, like that's definitely preferable. So
Great.
Yeah, because if they end up in your place, there's a chance that it could have that human imprint and then it not be easily released, right?
You should have seen us with these great horned owlets. We would dress up in full ghillie suits and go in. I'm not joking. We'd have an owl puppet. We would be hiding. We would do anything we can to not imprint on these babies. But we did a good job. They did not like us, which is perfect.
Good.
Oh,
That's
really?
what we
Good.
want.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. How do you, when the animals are in your facility, are you doing that there too? Not so they don't imprint and things like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like for example, with that, a volunteer came in one day when I was doing the great horns, and I just emerge out of this room as like a tree person, and they're just like, just like, sorry, like I was just taking care of the great horned owls, like. But yeah, we do as much as we can to make sure, talking is to a minimum and that we're quiet. Things are very peaceful and calm energy there, just, so they have a nice atmosphere to heal in.
Yeah.
And so they don't get used to humans.
I think that's a
important.
big misconception. They think that a lot of people who want to volunteer, they think that they're just going to get a chance to, pet animals.
Come and name the animals and that kind of thing.
We just
Cuddle them, kiss them.
I know, and it's really not like that. In fact, the less contact we can have with them, the better, because a successful wildlife rehabilitation situation is one where they go back and, that animal does not want to interact with humans. It just wants to do its own thing out there in the wild.
And you may not have percentages, but basically, what's the success rate for you guys? I mean, are you seeing a lot of animals?
I do have a percentage.
Okay, all right.
We had last year. We had a 70% release rate, which is
man.
pretty darn good.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's real good.
Yeah, and it varies by species, and also, it depends on what happened to that animal. There's some animals like the ones that got attacked by domestic cats last year. I think only one survived. I think that's right. Just the one hummingbird survived.
But that can happen. I mean, that happens. But
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. That's good. That would pass TCAP, right?
Heck yeah. Yeah.
Well, before we get too far from the website, I just want to mention that again. I mean, we redesigned this. We've got a button there that says "Find a Rehabilitator by Animal ID." So we're trying to make it easier for the public if they find a bird or a rabbit or whatever it may be. If they're not sure exactly what animal that might be, they can look at that and say, "Oh, that's a raptor." So that's maybe a different bird specialist, right?
Yes.
And so on. So explain a little bit about that, and I know Todd's going to show some of the pictures and stuff from the website, but we've got mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and that kind of breakdown.
That'll be helpful for the situations where we get a call that's like I have an injured baby robin, and then they send a picture and it's a baby hawk, and we're like,
Or a parakeet.
yeah. So I think that'll be very helpful to have on the website for situations like that. So
I love the update. I think y'all did a
Awesome.
great job.
Yeah, well, just so folks know, tnwildlife.org, and on the homepage, depending on when you're listening or watching right now, it says "Help, I found an animal." There's a little bunny there. Click on that. It'll take you to the new page where you can locate the right help, the help that you need for the animal that you have.
Yep.
And we're adding photos all the time, trying to get some stuff out there so folks can identify before they call you, because that's important, knowing where to go. So,
You guys had some specifics on certain species too, right? That you brought with you?
yeah,
do.
we kind of we're kind of thinking about, what are some of the most common reasons we see certain animals come in and things like that, and especially during the springtime, when everybody's having their babies, like there are just streams of calls from like just certain animals and usually, we start seeing trends with each one. So we kind of noted some of those to go over, kind of make people think about it, and try to take measures to prevent those things from happening. Because that's our biggest thing is prevention.
Right.
But yeah, so
yeah, because animals aren't always orphans; they're not always injured.
No.
It may just be like you said.
sometimes it's a kidnapping.
Well, it could be a kidnapping, or like you said, it was that time for that owl to be moved from the nest, and then the parent still comes back.
I can't tell you how many calls. I mean, last night I was sitting there answering, and that happens multiple times every single day. There was a school there that has a barred owl nest, and the owlet had jumped down, and she was concerned because it's near a road, and could I come? And I was like, just let it be. And sure enough, it's back in it. They texted this morning. It's back up. It's in the branches near its
Okay.
nest, and the parents are taking care of it.
Yeah.
So one of the primary calls that we get are, I found a bird. It's on the ground. What do I do? And in most situations, you should let it alone unless there's an imminent danger to that animal, because the parents are helping it and feeding it, and it just needs a couple of scary days on the ground until it gets back up into flight. What about bunnies, Melody? Can we give advice about bunnies?
Oh, the bunnies, the bunnies.
Because it's people are starting to mow yards, and that bunnies are injured a lot of times.
Oh, yes.
but not
Yeah.
all the time. Go ahead. I don't want to
Well,
interrupt there.
it's so sad because they're just the sweetest, most innocent creatures, and we just see the worst things happen to them. The main thing with that is cat attacks is one of the biggest ones, and unfortunately, it's not an easy one for them to come back from. Cats, dogs, lawnmowers, weed whackers. Those are all the main ones.
If you find a rabbit, though, and here's another thing, people see the nest and they're like, there's cats in the neighborhood, and then they take the rabbits out of the nest and call us.
Oh, gosh.
But the reality is, there are cats in every neighborhood, and it's a tough life to be a lagomorph out there. But in most cases, if the animals aren't injured, if your dog, assuming you don't have a dog that you can't contain, if you can put the rabbits back, that's always better to be with the mother rabbit than to come to us. It's not that we don't love taking care of them, but we're not mother rabbits, so they're going to. And the other thing, they're going to be gone. Like rabbits, they grow up really
Yeah,
fast.
they grow up very
2
fast.
to 3 weeks, they'll be gone. And so if they can just, walk your dog on a leash for a few weeks, if it's in their yard, then they'll get a chance to watch those rabbits grow up. So that's another one that we get a lot of.
Good tips.
Yeah.
Good tips.
What's your favorite animal, Jason? What do you want to hear about?
Well, let's go to the one that scares a lot of people. What about snakes? Did I stump you?
No. So we are licensed through TWRA, and we are allowed to take care of Class 2 animals. So just one thing to note is that any animal that is inherently dangerous to humans is a Class 1 animal, and we can't take them. So we don't take rattlesnakes, we don't take copperheads and things like that.
Okay.
But we can take like garter snakes or rat snakes, and I don't know how this happens. Maybe, do you have a theory in this? Snakes get caught in packing tape. I don't know. We got one of those last year, and it's often just a little bit of like Dawn bath or a little olive oil and
A little snake
little
bath.
snake bath and gets them gone. A lot of people are terrified of them. I love snakes. I think they're amazing. And if you don't love snakes, just think about all the rats and mice and everything that we'd have everywhere if we
Yep.
didn't have them in there.
We've talked about that before. There's a cycle. That's the reason with different wildlife are
Yeah.
on this planet. It's a
Yeah,
cycle.
yeah.
I'm not afraid of them either. I love watching them. But people don't realize there's only a few venomous snakes in Tennessee, and,
Yeah.
and most snakes are not going to harm you.
Yeah. They don't want to bite you. They just want to be left
Yeah,
alone.
just
So,
leave them alone.
yeah. So,
So a little olive oil bath, and you're good to go.
Packing tape. Yeah, that's
I know,
weird.
it's
That's-
so weird, isn't it?
It
I
is
don't know
weird.
why that keeps
I guess
happening.
maybe it's with all these porch deliveries we have these days. Maybe I don't know. People don't dispose of their packing tape
Yep.
properly
and
or
the
something.
poor snake is all wrapped up in
Oh,
that
gosh.
sticky tape, and we just help them get it off, and they make their merry way.
All right.
This might be a good segue for just trash in general. Make sure you clean up around your place.
Yeah.
Put your trash in the trash can. Make sure it gets to the dump or wherever, if you got your pickup or whatever it may be. Make sure it's stored away properly.
I know fishing tackle too is another
Yeah, that's
tough
a
one
big
for
problem.
especially for birds.
Yeah.
And I can attest to it because I've got a personal drone that I like to fly just for scenic stuff that we shoot video
That's cool.
of. And man, I have gotten that thing hung in old fishing line, hanging from trees. So
Yeah.
I can attest to how
What is
dangerous
that? People
stuff
throwing
can
it
be.
up in.
Well,
Probably
they'll
just
be
getting hung.
they'll be
Oh.
casting.
I
Their
was
lure
like-
gets caught in a tree, and they have to break their line
that
off,
makes
so it's
sense.
hanging down. It's hanging straight down.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's out of reach, so you can't really reach up there and get it. But wherever possible, man, if anglers could just pick up that wad of fishing line that somebody's left on the bank, or
Yeah.
just put it in. And I've done that many times. Just put it in my pocket and throw it away later when you get to a trash can. But
And that happens a lot. Lori Campbell is our animal care director, and on her day off, she teamed up. I guess y'all had Devin Blackburn on here last year as well. She's another rehabber.
Yeah.
So she and Lori actually went out and they saved a great blue heron that had been wrapped up
yeah.
in that wire, and then they brought it over to Walden's Puddle, and they were able to help the bird. So I guess that's another example of how all of the rehabbers, we just kind of all know each other and help each other and work
Sure.
together.
This is where we need to show the photo of
Yes.
them at the lake. It's a
Yes.
fantastic photo. That
and of
put that
of
on the
heron.
screen right
we'll
now.
send it to y'all.
okay,
Yeah.
good.
It's-
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. So yeah, put your fishing line in your pocket. Pick
Yeah.
it up if you see it. Fill a bag while you fill your tag. That's one of the Outdoor Stewards Conservation's campaign. Pick up some trash while you're out there fishing or hunting.
All right, so you threw snakes at us.
Mm-hmm.
Don, what's your favorite animal that you want to know about that we can
Oh,
that we
gosh.
can help?
Gosh, how about squirrels?
Squirrels.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, we've
could be
got a
full.
we've got a good amount of squirrels right now. A lot of it is tree trimming incidents. That's something I wanted to hit on is if you have people working on your yard, or if it's you that does it, always make sure you're assessing for wildlife first. And if you do use outside people, make sure you ask them, what are your protocols for checking for wildlife, and make sure they have something in place that, you're not just running out there with, what do you trim trees with?
Chainsaw.
Chainsaws.
Yeah.
Don't just go out there, waving your chainsaw around without making sure, and animals' nests, a lot of them are not going to be obvious to us from out here. That's part of it. It has to be well hidden.
Right.
So just make sure you're checking stuff before you're wielding any, swords or anything
Yeah.
out in your yard. Just, another one is all the storms that have been coming through and just destroying nests, and so a lot of babies will be found on the ground. Re-nesting is possible and preferable if it's
We
a
have
healthy.
instructions on our website on how to
Yeah.
do it.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Here's a good chance. What's the website?
HarmonyWildlife.org.
There you go.
And so-
HarmonyWildlife.org.
Yeah. And yeah, re-nesting really does work. If you're patient and you put the time in to do it.
Yeah, so that's preferable. But if not, then
Yeah. So it's actually, you go to YouTube and there's a video that plays mama or baby squirrel calls, excuse me. And so you actually we have videos, not from different rehabs. I haven't got one for us yet. We need to get that. Of you play the video calls and you put the baby near where they found it, and the mama will actually come down and pick it up and then bring it back.
Oh,
into the fence.
nice.
Isn't that cool?
Nice.
So,
yeah.
and we always want, if that's an option, like Melody said, we always want to send them back with their real mothers. The exception is if they're hurt, if they've fallen and you can see blood, or if what else would we look for if they
if they're cold,
Yeah.
if there's any apparent injuries, anything
Yeah.
like that.
then you should call a rehab. But
Yeah.
if the animal's healthy, let's get it back to mom.
So, do you find a lot of your calls coming in from cities or populated areas, or more like out in the country?
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Okay.
Really everywhere. But the types of calls you get vary. In the cities, we get a lot of window strikes where the birds have hit the windows of the buildings. One that I'm trying to help right now is that this man is very unhappy about where a bird has chosen to create her nest in a parking garage. And he's very worried about the birds. So I'm trying to talk him it's going to be okay. So we get issues like that, or, like a bird has fallen into a parking garage. And then out in the country, we get things like, I'm trying to think, mowing incidents with mowing over nests of rabbits. And I mean, that can happen everywhere in the suburbs. What else do we get? I mean, we get a lot.
A lot of
Oh, what we get a lot is people who have found a dead mother opossum on the road. And here's a tip: if you're up for it and you can do it, if you see a dead opossum, if you want to check her pouch on the road, you might find
For little
babies.
ones.
Yeah, babies that are inside there, and we get a lot of those. And so we try to help them whenever we can. And opossums are wonderful. We love them. So,
Well, be safe stopping on the road.
yes,
Make sure you got
safety first.
safety first. Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, that could happen.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Where we have a group of baby opossums right now. I forget what the circumstance
Which
was.
one
Was that I think it was an injured mother, and then
Yeah.
people
Okay.
had found that she had babies in her pouch, and so
Yeah, we had a bunch of those last year too.
yeah.
One that I want to make sure we touch on is deer.
Yeah.
There's been a change to the fawn rehabilitation.
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? The
Protocol.
protocol
Policy,
policy.
yeah.
So no longer are rehabbers allowed to rehab deer because of the spread of disease. But can you elaborate on some of that? I know you said you started with deer, right? Or that was one of your.
Yeah, Carol Burgess, who's the founder of Harmony, she actually, way back when, she sort of pioneered wildlife or fawn rehabilitation in Tennessee. She piloted the first program. It was really successful. Fast forward to today, though, where there is a disease called chronic wasting disease, or CWD. You've probably heard about it. It's been found in 16 counties in western Tennessee, and TWRA is trying to lock it down because we do not want this spreading. It is not, once an animal has it, there is no cure.
Right.
It's a terrible way to go. It affects moose and deer and elk.
Yeah. Cervid. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so anyway, the policy is to leave every animal where it is. So that way, when you rehab animals, you necessarily move them from where you found them to the rehab facility. So the approach here is going to be to leave every animal where we found it, which is really hard because when you see a fawn out there, people just, they want to help it. The good news is that the majority of the time,
9 times out of 10.
9 times out of 10, that animal is just fine. Oh, y'all, this was probably one of the funniest things that's ever happened. I was at Bonnaroo, and my neighbor called me because she had found a fawn in her yard, and she was worried because it was hot. It was 95 degrees out. So she brought it into her basement and gave it Sprite to try to help it. And I was like, just put the baby back.
Put the baby
Put
back.
the baby back. And sure enough, the doe was out there and took the baby back. But that's really what we want to see.
Like you said, 9 times out of 10, the mom has
Except
put
the
the baby
spray.
there for a reason.
Yep.
Right.
Put the baby back.
Because less smell, right? Fawns have less odor, and they're hidden really well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. Well, this has been great. I'm sure we could have covered so much more.
Hey, before we go though,
Yes.
let's talk about some donation possibilities. We've got a lot of loyal listeners that want to help, and so give us the web address one more time so we can
Sure. Thank you, Don.
connect you with those.
You can see our work at harmonywildlife.org, and we also have an Instagram account. So if you want to see cute videos and photos of all the baby animals that we work with, we love our Insta account as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Good
Awesome.
deal.
Yeah, if you can find a few funds to contribute, do that. Help these ladies out. Help the whole team. The network of rehabbers across the state. I know they'd really appreciate it. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thank you, ladies, for being here.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
all you do.
Yeah.
you.
Thank you guys for having us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's been a great show. Hope everybody learned something today. Keep coming back. This is Tennessee Wildcast, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee Wildcast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.